Why does no one really know what the mysterious chamber inside the Great Pyramid of Khufu was built for? Think about that for a second. The most famous monument of ancient Egypt, one of the 7 wonders of the world, and yet even today, after centuries of exploration, scans, and excavations, there's a hidden space inside that still has no clear explanation. If you've ever found yourself wondering why the Great Pyramid exists beyond just being a tomb, or what the ancient Egyptians were really trying to hide within its limestone walls, then this video is for you. Because in the next few minutes, we're going to explore questions that have puzzled archaeologists, engineers, and scientists for generations. And let me make you a promise. We won't just circle around vague theories. We'll tackle the most important and the most repeated questions people keep asking about the pyramids. Questions like, how were massive stone blocks weighing up to 80 tons lifted to such dizzying heights? Or why is the pyramid almost perfectly aligned with true north, more accurate than even modern buildings? And even deeper, could there be chambers still hidden inside, waiting to be discovered? But before we dive in, let me hit you with something even stranger. There are secrets within the Great Pyramid so puzzling that even Egyptians themselves, living in the shadow of these structures for thousands of years, have no clue about their true purpose. And here's the catch. If you don't already know the answer to why these hidden spaces exist, well, this video was made exactly for you. Stick around, because what you're about to hear may change the way you look at the pyramids forever. Here's something that will blow your mind. Despite all the research, no one can fully explain how the ancient Egyptians managed to move stones weighing over 70 or even 80 tons across miles of desert and stack them into a structure nearly 500 feet high. Think about it. Today, even with cranes and heavy machinery, moving blocks of that size is a major engineering challenge. Yet, more than 4,500 years ago, without iron tools, without wheels strong enough, and without advanced technology, the builders of Khufu's pyramid did exactly that. For decades, theories have come and gone. Massive straight ramps stretching for miles, spiraling ramps wrapping around the pyramid, or even the bold idea of an internal ramp hidden within the pyramid itself. None of these theories has ever been proven beyond doubt. But here's the kicker. Recent discoveries give us a shocking hint. Archaeologists found fragments of papyri, ancient logbooks written by a man named Merer, describing how workers transported huge limestone blocks from quarries along the Nile using boats. Yes, boats. The stones were floated down specially dug canals that reached almost to the base of the pyramid. This isn't just a random story. It's one of the oldest papyrus records ever found in Egypt. And it tells us something critical. The ancient Egyptians weren't just brute laborers hauling rocks by force. They were brilliant engineers who used water, wood, and clever planning to achieve the impossible. So now, answer me this. If the Egyptians had the knowledge and the skill to organize a workforce of thousands, build canals, and move gigantic blocks with such precision, what else did they know that we haven't yet uncovered? Another riddle that leaves experts speechless is the pyramid's alignment. The Great Pyramid of Khufu isn't just roughly pointed north. It's almost perfectly aligned with true north, deviating by only a fraction of a degree. To put that in perspective, even today, with GPS, lasers, and satellite imaging, architects would struggle to achieve that kind of accuracy on a structure this massive. Yet, over 4,500 years ago, without compasses, telescopes, or modern surveying tools, the Egyptians pulled it off. So how did they do it? Some scholars suggest they use the stars, specifically two in the constellation of the Big Dipper and Little Dipper, waiting for the moment they aligned vertically to mark true north. Others argue they use the sun's shadow at equinox, creating precise lines by watching where the shadow of the stick disappeared. But here's the catch. No matter which method you choose, the level of accuracy is still astonishing. To align a pyramid with such precision, you need not only astronomical knowledge, but also flawless execution across a base covering more than 13 acres. Now, pause for a moment. Think about the intention behind that accuracy. Was it purely for architectural stability, or did it carry some symbolic, maybe even cosmic meaning? Was Khufu trying to link his monument to the heavens themselves? And here's where I want your thoughts. If you had to choose between the stars or the sun, which do you think the ancient builders relied on to achieve such near-perfect alignment? Deep inside the Great Pyramid, narrow shafts run from the so-called King's Chamber and Queen's Chamber, stretching upward through solid stone. For decades, people believed these were ventilation channels. But there's a problem. They don't actually lead to the outside in a practical way. Instead, they end in strange little doors, some with copper handles attached. In 1993, a robotic camera was sent through one of these shafts. What it found was astonishing. A small limestone block with two tiny copper handles embedded in it, like a locked doorway sealed thousands of years ago. Since then, more robots have entered other shafts, only to find more mysterious blocks. To this day, nobody knows what lies beyond them. Think about that. Hidden doors inside the most famous pyramid on Earth, completely sealed off since the time of Khufu. Were they symbolic gates to the afterlife? Secret vaults for sacred relics? Or something we haven't even imagined yet? And this is where the mystery deepens. Because if the Egyptians intentionally created false doors, secret tunnels, and hidden chambers, what else could be concealed beneath our feet? What if what we see above ground is just the tip of the mountain stretching below the desert sands? Now, if this idea fascinates you, and I know it does, you'll want to check out another mystery that could be connected. There's a theory suggesting that beneath the Earth itself, vast hidden realms exist. Worlds we've barely begun to imagine. Some call it the Hollow Earth theory. And if you haven't seen that video yet, you definitely should. It ties into questions that go far beyond the pyramids. One of the most haunting questions surrounding the pyramids is whether the ancient Egyptians possessed knowledge or technology we no longer understand. When you stand before the Great Pyramid, you're not just looking at a giant pile of stones. You're staring at a masterpiece of engineering that modern builders admit would be nearly impossible to replicate today with the same scale and precision. The joints between many of the limestone blocks are so tight that not even a sheet of paper can slide through them. The base is level within fractions of an inch across an area larger than 5 football fields. The sheer organizational power required to quarry, transport, cut, and fit millions of stones without advanced machinery is staggering. This leads to a bigger question. Did the Egyptians have some form of lost technology that vanished over time? Some researchers speculate about ingenious tools or methods now forgotten. Others, more controversially, suggest outside influences, perhaps visitors not of this world. While mainstream archaeology rejects such ideas, the mystery remains. How did a Bronze Age society achieve something that rivals our modern capabilities? And here's the truly eerie part. Across the world, in places like Peru and Mesopotamia, we find other megalithic structures that also seem to defy the known limits of their time. Is this just coincidence? Or could there have been a shared knowledge, an ancient science that slipped through the cracks of history? So let me ask you this. When you look at the pyramids, do you see the work of human genius alone? Or do you think there's more to the story? In 2017, scientists using cosmic ray technology made a discovery that shook the archaeological world. They detected what appeared to be a massive hidden void above the king's chamber inside the Great Pyramid of Khufu. This space is so large, it could easily fit an airplane. Here's the catch. No one knows what it's for. Was it a structural feature? A hidden chamber? Or something else entirely? Some experts argue it's simply a relieving space designed to reduce the weight on the king's chamber below. But others insist the size and shape of the void suggest a greater purpose, one that remains a mystery even now. What makes this so fascinating is that the void has never been physically explored. The discovery came from muon radiography, a scanning method that tracks particles from cosmic rays as they pass through stone. In other words, we're looking at a ghostly image of something sealed away for over 4 millennia. And here's the strange part. If such a vast space has remained hidden until the 21st century, how many other secrets are still locked within the pyramid? Could there be entire rooms filled with treasures, sacred texts, or technologies we've yet to uncover? The void above the king's chamber is a silent reminder that even with modern science, we are only scratching the surface of what lies within. The Egyptians built not just monuments, but puzzles designed to outlast time itself. So here's my question. If you had the chance to explore this void tomorrow with no restrictions, what would you hope to find waiting inside? Perhaps the greatest mystery of all is the question of purpose. We call the Great Pyramid a tomb, but here's the truth. No mummy has ever been found inside. Not a single sarcophagus with royal remains. The so-called king's chamber? Empty. The queen's chamber? Empty. Even the subterranean chamber deep below ground? Also empty. So what was the real purpose of the Great Pyramid? Was it ever truly intended as a tomb? Or was that explanation simply a convenient label? Some alternative researchers argue it might have been a massive energy device, a kind of ancient power plant. Others suggest it was an astronomical observatory, a gateway to the afterlife, or even a message encoded in stone for future generations. Mainstream Egyptologists maintain that it was indeed a tomb, even if the royal remains were looted long ago. But the lack of evidence raises a haunting question. Could we be completely wrong about the very function of the pyramid itself? And here's where it gets fascinating. This isn't just one pyramid. Khafre's and Menkare's pyramids also remain shrouded in mystery, raising the possibility that the entire Giza plateau was designed with a grander purpose than we've ever imagined. Now, if you stayed with me this far, it's clear you're as fascinated by these mysteries as I am. So let me ask you a favor. If you're enjoying uncovering these secrets, hit that like button. It helps more than you realize. Share this video with someone who loves ancient mysteries. And don't forget to subscribe, because we've only just begun exploring the secrets the ancient world has left for us. One of the most intriguing theories about the pyramids is their potential connection to the stars. Some researchers argue that the 3 pyramids of Giza were deliberately aligned with the 3 stars of Orion's belt, creating a celestial map on Earth. When you look at aerial photographs of the Giza plateau, The resemblance is striking. The positions of Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure mirror the alignment of Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka, the three bright stars forming Orion's belt. For some, this is undeniable proof that the pyramids were built as part of a cosmic blueprint, a message linking heaven and earth. Mainstream archaeologists, however, remain skeptical. They argue the alignment isn't perfect, and that similar patterns can be found by coincidence in other contexts. Still, the idea refuses to die because the Egyptians were deeply connected to the stars. The constellation of Orion was associated with Osiris, the god of rebirth and the afterlife, while the star Sirius was linked to the goddess Isis. The rising of Sirius even marked the flooding of the Nile, the lifeblood of Egypt. So here's the mystery. Did the builders of Giza design the pyramids to echo the heavens, ensuring Khufu's soul would ascend directly into the stars? Or are we simply reading too much into patterns that nature placed in the sky? And maybe the bigger question is this. If the pyramids were indeed part of a cosmic plan, what does that say about the level of astronomical knowledge possessed by the ancient Egyptians? Could they have known more about the universe than we give them credit for? Beneath the Great Pyramid lies one of its strangest features, the subterranean chamber, carved directly into the bedrock, far below ground level. Unlike the Grand King's Chamber or the mysterious Queen's Chamber, this room is rough, unfinished, and eerily silent. Archaeologists have puzzled for centuries over its purpose. Was it an abandoned burial chamber? A symbolic gateway to the underworld? Or perhaps the earliest attempt at building the pyramid, left incomplete when plans changed? No one can say for sure. What makes the subterranean chamber even more haunting is its isolation. To reach it, you descend through narrow passages that slope steeply downward, leaving behind the massive corridors and vaulted ceilings of the pyramid above. At the end of this descent lies a cold, hollow room, empty, except for a pit cut into the stone floor, leading even deeper into the earth. Some theorists believe this chamber was deliberately left unfinished to symbolize chaos before creation, a representation of the underworld itself. Others suggest it may still conceal hidden pathways branching off into the bedrock, leading to chambers we haven't yet discovered. And here's a chilling thought. If the Egyptians were willing to carve deep into the earth beneath their pyramid, how much more might be buried beneath the sands of Giza, still waiting to be revealed? The subterranean chamber remains one of the most enigmatic parts of the Great Pyramid, a space that feels less like architecture and more like a message, carved in silence, meant to endure beyond time. So what have we uncovered? We've seen the massive stones moved with methods both ingenious and mysterious. We've explored the perfect alignment with the stars and the sun. We've stepped into hidden shafts ending in sealed doors, voids the size of airplanes, and chambers carved deep into the earth itself. And still, after thousands of years of study, the pyramids refuse to give up all their secrets. Perhaps that is their true genius. The pyramids weren't built just as monuments of stone, but as monuments of mystery. Structures designed to outlast not only empires and civilizations, but time itself. They force us to ask questions about human ingenuity, about forgotten technologies, and about our connection to the cosmos. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the builders of Giza wanted us to wonder, to feel small beneath their towering walls, to look up at the stars, and to remember that there is always more hidden than revealed. But here's the truth. What we've explored today is just one chapter in a much larger story. If the pyramids hint at civilizations capable of things we can barely explain, what about the ones we've forgotten entirely? That's why I want you to check out another video right after this one. It dives into the chilling idea of ancient civilizations that were wiped away from history, leaving behind only fragments and whispers. Trust me, if you thought the pyramids were mysterious, this video will take you even deeper down the rabbit hole. Don't miss it, because the story of the pyramids isn't just about Egypt. It's about the secrets humanity has buried in time, waiting for us to uncover.